everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to another episode of Tell Me About Your Dog, the show with one simple purpose: to hear all about your dog and share their stories of what makes them special. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a CVT here in the sunny state of Florida, a pet insurance advocate and lover of all things senior pets. We are in for a treat today because the amazing Dr. Anna Bannon is back on set with us today. If I had an audience, I would make them stand up and clap for you, but I don't. So you just have me standing here and clapping for you.
Yay.
Welcome, Dr. Anna.
Hi, Sam.
I thought we would start the show with everybody's favorite topic.
Oh, gosh.
Puppies.
Yay, puppies.
Because, of course, all we do in the veterinary field is play with puppies all day.
Oh, right. That's it. That's all I do.
That's all we do. That's all we do. So let's jump right into the must-haves and must-do for new puppies. What is, you would say, the most important thing for a new puppy?
Oh, man. Do your homework. Do your research.
Research.
Don't just research for everything. Don't just be like, oh, I want a puppy. That sounds fun, and go get one. People really need to put a lot of time and effort into what type of lifestyle you have. Think about that, and then what animal would fit into that. So do your research on the breeds, breed mixes, size of dog you want, energy levels they have. I cannot tell you how many owners come in and we start telling them things about their breed that, you know, they should know about and stuff, and they're shocked. And
no idea.
No idea. And I'm like, if you Googled the word dog, you should know some of these things. You know
Exactly.
So yeah, a lot of homework. It's a big commitment, and you should do your homework.
Yeah, exactly. Getting a new puppy. What is the steps? We know that the shop visits are important. We know that socialization is very important. What are some things people don't think about after they bring a puppy home that they're utterly surprised to hear or see?
Oh, the time commitment. Puppies need a lot of engagement with you. And a lot of people like picture the dog sleeping on the rug while you're watching TV. And puppies don't normally do that. They want to go, they want to learn. One thing that I'm always kind of aware of is when puppies are interacting with you, they're always learning. So you almost constantly have to be in the mindset of training them and rewarding positive behavior and ignoring or deterring negative behavior, because every interaction you have with your puppy is a learning experience for them. You know, you think of that with kids, but you don't really think of that with puppies. And when they're crazy teenage puppies, you're like, oh, God. But everything is a learning experience for them.
And people don't understand, too. They think that punishing them and telling them something negative if they do something wrong is going to teach them a lesson. But dogs have no idea. They don't have the concept of, oh, I did that. That was bad. They get scared and they're like, oh, crap, I don't know what I did.
Right.
But now I'm just terrified.
And now
of
they're more nervous and they're afraid and they get, shy about things. So the positive reinforcement, there's a big move in training in the animal world that so much of it is positive reinforcement. When they do something you like, you reward that behavior. When they do something you don't like, don't punish them. Just direct them to something else, distract them, make sure they don't have access to that negative behavior they're doing. You don't want to make it a big negative thing, because that's just reinforcing like danger and scariness to puppies, instead of like, nope, this is what you're supposed to be doing and make this part happy.
Yeah. Can dogs get anxiety at such a young age from things like that repeatedly happening?
Yes. And we, even this week, we saw a puppy who's already starting to cower and growl. And that's a big thing for owners, because they really need to try early on to work with your vet, work with a behaviorist, work with a good trainer, to try to start teaching them that that's not the appropriate way to respond to things. You want to start showing them a lot of positive things and happy things. And it's tricky. And you really need to work with a behaviorist and people that know about dog behavior, especially if you deal with a puppy who's already showing signs of anxiety and like negative traits like that.
Yeah. It is so important for puppies, especially when they're in that socialization period, 8 to 12 weeks. They're being taken away from mom and their siblings. So they really don't know how to function without other pets around them, mom there to teach them whatever they need to know. When they're with mom and they crawl around, do something they're not supposed to, mom will correct it right away. But when you have a puppy that's 8 weeks old on their own, they need that correction. They need that socialization to teach them what's right and what's wrong. And same, more importantly, when they're in the adolescent phase at 6 to 12 months and sometimes 18 months, depending on the breed.
Right.
So how important is training during that adolescent time? Not only when they're baby puppies, but when they're adolescent stage.
The teenage years, when they're, like 6 months to 18 months. We call it the dinosaur years or the T-Rex years, because they're just crazy. And so that is, there's two kind of important parts in a puppy's life. That initial, 8 to 16 weeks, because their brain is developing and there's certain like physiologic things that are happening and those windows can close. But then when they're the teenagers, that's when a lot of their behavior is getting instilled in them, and you're teaching them things, but they're also crazy. So
Mhm.
it's easy for owners to get frustrated and, kind of lose their patience with them. But that's when you really should get trainers involved, and good trainers. I had someone come in with this like nasty prong collar for a dog that was anxious and like worried. And I was like, and I told them, I said, I'm not sure who the trainer is, but I really suggest that you find someone else, because
Mhm.
when a dog already has anxiety and you have this painful prong collar that you're tugging on, that's not the appropriate way to do things.
Yeah. Well, when you have puppies, they know the basic manners that they need to learn. And it's pretty, I don't want to say generalized, but it's a common class of basic manners, sit, stay, watch me, stay with
Mhm.
me, learning how to behave around puppies. Sometimes in that adolescent phase, though, they need specialized training for a
Right.
specific issue, not
Right.
just manners. They need to learn, maybe they run out the door, maybe they, bite people when they come in and
Yeah,
mouth
like
them
they're
on
too
their arm.
excited, so
Exactly. They
they
get overly
chomp. And
excited. So, what are some ways that people can do that specified training for a dog's needs if they aren't just general training?
um, oh, that's a good question. I would find a legit trainer. There's a lot. I mean, we're in the Tampa area, so there's a lot of like facilities that will do training in their facility and at home.
Mhm.
I know like Sit Mean Sit is one that my sister put her dog through, and her dog's
They're great.
amazing.
They're great.
Yeah. And so working with an actual trainer, we have a lot that come out to the house, and they come into the house to work with what the issue is at the house, because it's easy to say, well, just do this when your dog does that. But it's a lot harder in real time to like have the owner react at the right time. Because if the owner's reacting 10 seconds later, the dog has no idea what they're reacting to.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I work with a trainer, read good books.
Mhm.
Sophia Yin is an amazing veterinary behaviorist, and she has a lot of great books out there. So I always recommend The Perfect Puppy in 7 Days, How to Act So Your Dog Behaves, something like that. How to Behave So Your Dog Behaves, I think, is another one of her books. And those are really good, because a lot of it is how do we react to our dog.
Right.
That's what you need to really learn how to do, is
Yeah.
your own actions and what you say to them and that kind of stuff.
Half the training is really training the human.
90% of the training is training the human on
I was
how
saying
to
half just to be generous,
okay.
but you're right. It is more like 90% of the just
Yeah,
training the
and it's
human.
hard. I don't know everything about behavior.
Mhm.
I contact people that are trainers and behaviorists, and I consult with other
Yeah.
veterinarians, because I'm like, I have a patient doing this.
Mhm.
What's the best way to go to approach this?
Yeah, I think anyone in the hospital will agree we're not behaviorists.
Not at
We are
all.
never going to claim to be a behaviorist in any way, shape, or form, but we will stress how important it is
Right.
to get good training and to find a good trainer because, like you said, it's really important to correct those behaviors because they become an issue. And sometimes it becomes a lifelong issue that really affects people's quality of life at home.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially when you have kids or elderly people in the house. Do you see a lot of issues with behavior leading to rehoming dogs?
A lot. Yeah, absolutely. Leading to rehoming dogs, leading to euthanizing dogs, giving them up at a shelter, which is really sad, because then you have dogs with behavior issues in a horrible shelter environment, and it just it doesn't work
Amplifying
out well.
those
Yeah.
those fear and anxiety based issues
Yeah.
sitting in a shelter. Well, on that topic, I do want to talk a little bit about a more taboo subject that you brought up, behavioral euthanasia. So, what is a behavioral euthanasia, and what are some scenarios that it's brought to the table in conversation?
So a behavioral euthanasia is when we end the life of a pet because of their behavior. And a lot of times it's aggressive behavior. So these are dangerous dogs. They have a history of biting people, killing other animals, biting kids. A lot of behavioral euthanasias are focused on dogs who are a danger to themselves or to other people. Some behavioral euthanasias also stem from anxiety and the dogs being a danger to themselves because of anxiety. I've had dogs that cannot be left home alone, so they're breaking their teeth chewing on bars of their crate. They're chewing on door frames. I had a dog jump out of the window, like broke the window and jump out and got cut all up, and all because of anxiety. And there are anti-anxiety meds that you can get them on, but there's only so much pharmaceuticals can do. There's only so much that training can do. And so sometimes you're left with there's nothing more that we can do for this dog. And so the kindest thing is to let them go.
Yeah.
There are things worse than death. We say that a lot in the vet field. You know, there's a lot of neglect situations, or, you know, an anxious dog living at the shelter for 10 years. There are things worse than death. So a lot of times a behavioral euthanasia is the kindest thing to do to an animal who has really bad anxiety or who is a danger to others.
Yeah. There is a little bit of stigma behind, every dog is a good dog. There are no good dogs, just bad people. But there are situations where children get bit or people get bit, and you don't want to put that dog into another situation where they are a danger to a child, especially.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's almost a kind decision to say, is it fair to this dog who absolutely hates life in general because they are so scared of everybody, and this is their reaction, is to bite or be aggressive? So it is a little bit of a controversial subject, but there are some situations where it's considered.
Yeah. And I do think it's an important thing to consider in situations where dogs are really dangerous and they're scary, or they have such bad anxiety that, they're injuring themselves.
So on that topic, you have a dog who was brought in for a behavior euthanasia. So let's say it together.
Tell me about your dog. So Mia is a golden retriever, and the first time I met her was for behavioral euthanasia. And just that right there is kind of tricky, because as a policy, a lot of veterinarians will not do a behavioral euthanasia on a patient they don't know, for good reason. Before you consider a behavioral euthanasia, there's usually a lot that you have to go through. Training issues, medication, there's a lot of pharmaceuticals, even supplements can be really helpful. And so most behavioral euthanasias that I've ever done, I've spent months, if not years, working with these patients and these clients trying to figure out a way to avoid the euthanasia. And so Mia came to me for the very first time for behavioral euthanasia consults. And as a policy, I don't do that, but it was one of those miscommunication issues where we thought she was coming in through a rescue, and it's a rescue we work with well, or we've worked with for a long time. So anyhow, once we found out there was a miscommunication, I was like, that's okay. I'm just going to meet her anyway, and we'll just go from there. So I met her, and she was a really cool, like, golden retriever. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And this was in COVID times. So I didn't actually meet the owner face to face, but I talked to them a lot on the phone. Before the appointment, they sent some videos of her and her behavior. And it was interesting. Mia's not your typical golden. She had some food aggression issues. She is a very grumbly, growly golden. And so her kind of reaction to things that you do or say, she'll sometimes growl, she'll grumble at you. If you tell her to lay down, she kind of as she lays down. And it is weird.
But it's talk back almost.
Yeah, it's almost like she's communicating with you, that she's not happy with something. But some of what the owners were dealing with was that they had, I believe, grandkids that were coming to the house more often. And Mia was not in an environment where she felt very comfortable, apparently, because she would grumble and growl kind of unprovoked, and they weren't sure what was triggering it. They were getting nervous because, the kids would be around her, and she would just, you could tell she was uncomfortable. And they had worked with a few trainers before they moved down to Florida. They'd worked with a few trainers and couldn't really get far. And she did have food aggression issues. And so it was just one of those things where they were uncomfortable around Mia, and they were worried she was going to be a danger to the kids in the house.
So it wasn't a direct, this is what she does. It was more of a, this is what she portrays, and we're nervous about what that could reflect.
Yes.
With the grandkids around.
Yeah. And they had worked with trainers to try to help. And so it was one of those things that they didn't feel like it was a good fit anymore, but they also exhausted all the other options. Because if you call a rescue and say, hi, my dog's like growling and potentially mean and dangerous, will you take her? They don't want them. Yeah.
In the most kind way. They're going to say, we can't take on that. That puts their liability on us now.
Right. And I've worked with rescues that have taken dogs like that have injured other people and broken hands, and they end up euthanized. And so a lot of rescues have unfortunately learned their lesson that you can't save every dog. And so if they come to you with a potential danger, a lot of rescues will turn them away. And that's what this client faced.
So talk about Mia now, because you ended up adopting Mia.
So I ended up adopting Mia. When she came in for the euthanasia, I told the owner, I was like, why don't I have you sign her over to the clinic? And when I did that, I worked with a certified dog trainer who is a vet tech. And I said, hey, Sierra, you want to take this dog home and tell me what you think about her? And Sierra, without skipping a beat, was like, sure, I'll assess her. So she lived with Sierra for only like a week or so, who kind of learned her behaviors and kind of using a dog trainer, working with a dog trainer, she kind of helped me pick up on certain things that Mia would do and how to react to her and that kind of stuff. So I ended up taking Mia home initially to foster her, but let's be honest, most of us
never left.
Yeah, most of us foster fail. And so I worked on her food aggression problems and change the environment a bit for that. And I know she's got food aggression issues, so how we approach food and handle it, we're able to help with that. And she's a weird dog. And one thing she has taught me is that I can't really tell her to do things. I can ask her to do things, and she has her own say in whether or not she wants to do them.
She makes the final decision about if she's actually going to do it or not.
Right. And so in certain households that doesn't work, but in my household it works. And she and I have kind of developed this relationship where we're more like roommates who live together, and it's like, hey, do you want to do this? And she's like, nope. And I'm like, all right, cool.
And you respect it. Yeah.
and I respect that boundary. Now, if it's something I need her to do, I am able to ask her and reward her with treats. She loves food. And so that's something else that we've been able to work with. Like if I need her to get off the couch, if I tell her, she'll growl at me and she won't do it. And if I push her, oh, heck no, she'll, she will pretty grumble at me. And I've seen her lift her lip a couple times, but I don't do that. I know that that's her boundary.
Right. You respect the boundary and say, okay, you don't need to do this. It's not urgent. So if this is what you want to do, then it's all right.
Then that's up to you. Yeah. So if she needs to, then I get a treat. I tell her, she comes off the couch and everything's great. And I don't have kids, and my lifestyle is a bit different, and it really works out for us. And she's a fantastic dog. I love her dearly. She is weird, but so am I. And we just, we're navigating life together. And
you get each other.
We get each other. She has big feelings. I have big feelings. So, we're really a really great pair. And it doesn't mean her other owner was wrong in any way. Like they were uncomfortable with her. She was uncomfortable with them and their lifestyle. And that kind of goes back to getting a puppy and how you need to have a dog that fits your lifestyle. And it's okay if there's certain dogs that don't fit your life. It doesn't mean you're wrong or they're wrong.
Right.
It's just, it really needs to mesh. The whole point of having pets is to enhance our lives. If you have one that doesn't get along with you, or you don't get along with it, or
it makes your life 10 times more difficult.
Yeah, then that's not the point of it,
Yeah, and I think you made up a good point. You brought up a good point with people will blame themselves when their dog has an issue, when really it's not anyone's fault. There's not a blame game that needs to happen. No one needs to take responsibility. It's just saying, okay, this doesn't work, or this needs to be changed. And you guys did the best thing for Mia. You took her out of the environment she wasn't thriving in, and you said, okay, what is an environment that she will thrive in?
Yeah.
And you provided it by keeping her. Well, I love that story. On a little bit of a lighter subject, now that we've talked about some behavior, I want to play a little game of Veterinary This or That.
Oh, sounds exciting. Scary.
All right. So, game is simple. I will give you two options. Just tell me which one you would prefer.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
All right. Starting off simple. Puppy breath or kitten purrs?
Ooh, I do like puppy breath. I'm a weirdo that likes puppy breath.
No. It's so gross. So you're picking puppy breath?
Yeah.
All right. A Great Dane patient with no boundaries or a Chihuahua patient with a bad attitude?
Chihuahua with a bad attitude. 100%.
I don't mind a Chihuahua with an attitude because I feel like I expect them to have a little bit of an attitude problem.
Right.
It almost makes them distinctive.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm like, I get it. I respect it. That's
right.
That's just your demeanor. All right. Aggressive cat or a submissive urinator?
Oh, I guess it depends on how aggressive the cat is. I don't mind urine.
A spicy burrito kind of cat.
Spicy burrito. Yeah, I could do a spicy burrito. I'll take the aggressive cat. Because the submissive urinator also wags their tail, and then you get the flinging of the urine on your face, and so I'll take the spicy cat.
All right, foreign body surgery or full mouth extractions?
Foreign body surgery.
All day, every day.
Yeah, much better than full mouth extraction.
I'll take back-to-back foreign body surgeries over a full mouth extraction.
Yeah, sometimes I take a foreign body surgery over a spay. Spays are difficult. Yeah.
I'm with you. Full mouth extractions, though.
Full mouth extractions are hard. I did one this week. Whew.
And how'd that go?
It went great. Yeah, the cat's doing well, but man, it's so difficult. 3 hours of just constant. Yeah, I need to
be so patient and so particular.
Roots that are millimeters big.
All right, flush out a maggot wound or a giant abscess.
Giant abscess.
All day, every day.
Ooh.
The amount of abscess videos I have on my phone is concerning, but gosh, they are so satisfying.
They really are. We love them. We love abscesses.
Be sneezed on by a client or pooped on by a bird.
Pooped on by a bird.
Yeah, I think everyone in the hospital would probably pick that answer.
Yeah.
All right, remove 100 ticks off a dog or do 10 anal gland expressions.
Ooh, 10 anal gland expressions.
10 anal gland expressions?
I'll do 100 anal gland expressions.
Over ticks?
They're kind of like abscesses. They're
I don't
fun.
know, there's something really satisfying about pulling a tick out, though. Especially
Nope.
when you get the head.
Nope.
Got it. I mean, I probably still would pick the anal gland expressions, but ticks are fun. All right, giving bad news to an angry owner or a sensitive one that will cry.
Ooh, the sensitive one that will cry. I would rather do that.
You can handle the big feelings.
Yeah, I'm a crier. I'm a big feelings person. I just angry clients are never fun to deal with. So.
Unfortunately, you don't get anywhere with anger, and we've had clients who get really angry to the point where it's almost assault.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I've never personally experienced the assault stuff, but there are a lot of vet clinics that have holes punched in the wall and yeah, death threats that are made to staff members.
Especially emergency life. You know, we had people spit at us. We've had people throw credit cards in our face. You know, when you're trying to collect payment for something, people don't like being told bad news. And when they're reactive and angry like that, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to leave the room. There's nothing else you can do at that point. So I'm with you. Probably a sensitive one that cries.
I like my sensitive client.
Yeah, it means they care.
Yeah.
All right, work a night shift or do a 6-hour surgery?
6-hour surgery.
Yeah? You take that over working an overnight again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Done with those days?
Done with those days. I want my own bed and yep.
All right, splenectomy or intussusception, which for the definition, for those not in the vet field, splenectomy is the removal of the spleen, and an intussusception is the intestines that are sliding into the other intestines and basically creating a little blockage.
Splenectomy.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You don't
definitely.
like intussusceptions?
Well, because intussusceptions will often lead to resection and anastomosis because if it telescopes onto itself, then the intestines can die. So now you're back to like, well, we have to cut it out and then suture the intestines together. And that's tricky and is nerve-wracking. So
one surgery becomes 3 surgeries, basically.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Be short-staffed for the full day or overbooked with emergencies.
Both sound terrible.
Sometimes you have both in the same day.
I know.
There's nothing worse than having a full schedule, a lot of people calling in, and 2 people have called out.
I think short-staffed all day because overbooked with emergencies. I don't like being stressed in a vet clinic because that's when mistakes can happen. That's when you can overlook things. And so that really affects me if there's like this emergency and that one and that one and that one. I'd rather just have some stressed out staff that I can help with. I'll jump in and clean cages and I'll, answer the phones and that kind of stuff. I'd rather deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Baby bunny comes in or a squirrel with an injured leg comes in.
Squirrels.
Yeah. I'll take squirrels.
I love squirrels.
I love squirrels. Baby bunnies just don't do well.
I was going to say they just die when you look at them.
I hate that. And if you're watching this and you see a baby bunny that needs rescuing, please, it does not need rescuing. It just needs its mom.
Doesn't. Yeah.
Its mom will come back.
Yeah. Squirrels all day, every day.
We love squirrels. All right. Coworker calls out sick or coworker comes in sick?
Ooh. Wait, which one I prefer? Oh. Gosh. I'm going to sound like a terrible boss when I say coworker comes in sick because if it's really bad, we can send him home. But even today, one of my sweet, amazing coworkers came in with a migraine and it was horrible. And I felt so bad that she came in, but I was so thankful she came in and she napped for the first half hour of the shift. We turned off the lights. She slept with the clinic cat. And then when she felt better, she came back and we would have been lost without her today. So yeah.
You sound like my mom when I would stay home from school. But Mom, I'm so sick. Well, you need to try.
You need to try. And she tried, and I'm very, very thankful. We really would have been bad off today if she called out sick.
All right. Lots of phone calls to make or lots of medical records to write?
Medical records to write.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Farm animals or exotic pets?
Farm animals.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do like exotic pets, but exotic owners can be a lot. And farm animals are fun. Like it's goats. Who doesn't want to snuggle a goat and pet a cow? Oh, I really love cows. I love chickens.
As we know.
Yeah.
Chicken tamer.
Yep.
Well, then this one's going to be easy. Litter of puppies or litter of piglets?
Oh, interesting. Puppies, litter puppies.
Yeah. All right. Would you rather have a dog's sense of smell or a cat's reflexes?
Ooh, cats' reflexes, because working in the vet field, I don't want to smell things
I was going to say,
10,000
we
times
smell
better than I already do.
a lot of bad
But
things.
cat reflexes would be fun.
That would be fun. You just,
Yeah.
you'd be like a little ninja.
I know. Run up through trees. Yeah.
All right. Well, the last one, and it's a really easy one.
It's fun.
Work for someone else or have your own hospital.
Have my own hospital.
You should open a hospital one day.
I should. You should open another one.
Yeah.
No, I'm never opening another
You could
one.
have friends animal hospital, and then you could have family and friends animal
Oh
hospitals.
my gosh. That's cute. I'm
Well,
happy with my one.
That's great. We love it. Dr. Anna, thank you so much for coming back on Tell Me About Your Dog. We always love having you. Please be sure to follow the show on Spotify and YouTube, and follow Tell Me About Your Dog on Instagram, where I would love to hear your dog stories and topics you'd like to hear more about. I'll see you next time.